Well, guys, Clash in Italy is in the books, and it was a show. It was a show. It was a safe show, to put it mildly. And in the words of the I Love Lucy TV show, Triple H, you got some splaining to do because this was not a good show. And yeah, I think we need to. I think we need to have a serious conversation about the booking of WWE and how they attempt to play everything a little bit too safe. So we're going to talk about it. So with that, I am Mike, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill. And Sean, what did you think of Clash in Italy?
So, honestly, I didn't hate most of the show. I mean, other than being too safe for a lot of the show, and obviously, as a given by most of our picks from, at least those of us who know how to pick, most of our picks from predictions, it was what we expected. I
Mhm.
do have some issues with the main event, but obviously, once we talk about that, we'll get into it. And then, obviously, some underlying issues just based off of the long term booking of how some of the things are going to go. So safe show wasn't anything terrible, but nothing really to write home to mother about.
Yeah, yeah. I would. I'll get into it because I've got several things I want to rant about. Starting with, I guess, the timing of the matches, right? So the show kicked off, the first hour free on ESPN, which we've said enough about that. So I don't really want to get into, more of that, right? Again, because it's the second time now where we've given three matches to people who are paying for ESPN Plus and two matches to people who have a basic cable subscription, which, say what you want about that. I don't love any of that because it takes away from the premiumness of the premium live event, right? Because to me, there's nothing premium about three matches. Paying for an ESPN Plus subscription, there's nothing premium about three matches. Three matches that were okay. I mean, they were fine. The other, the free matches aside, the three matches that you had to pay for ESPN Plus for, they were okay. I don't agree with one of them, two of them even having happened on this show, and the way the third one was booked was atrocious. But regardless, a lot of star power in those matches. So if that's what WWE, if that's the horse they're going to die on, is that premium to them means you're just getting stars. You're not getting quality. You're not getting story. You're not getting substance. But premium seems to mean with WWE that you're just getting stars. I think I think that's it because I've noticed, and maybe I'm incorrect here, but I don't know if they call Saturday night's main events premium live events, but they call these ones premium live events, and I think it's because Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley are on the show.
So I don't think they call Saturday night main events what they are, PLEs, because I think PLE is just another word for pay per view at this point, since that's what
Mhm.
everybody used to know them as. And technically, you're paying for the extra streaming services, so I guess you still are sort of paying for them. They just have a modernized name for it. But like you said, the fact that you are giving away two major matches, and in the case of this show, and we'll never hear me say this again, a match that was probably the match of the night, and as part of the free portion of this, is insane to me. Like, why am I paying $30, so basically $10 a match for ESPN Plus? Like, I get that ESPN wants to showcase this stuff for them. Do one match, just if even that. Go back to doing a pre-show. Give them a pre-show on ESPN with two matches with other feuds that are going on. Like, don't do the main show on. I mean, I hate to give AEW credit, but AEW does it right. They do their free pre-show with that people can watch, and then their paid event. And it's just that's the way it should be done.
Yeah, and I will, and the commercials obviously don't help either. But again, we've said enough about the commercials. But I think the bigger problem I have with that is like the amount of them, right? It's like 4 minutes of commercials in between each one of these matches, and then like they used to do like in the main event seems to get it, but like every other match, like they used to have like, the storyline of the match, like in kind of like a vignette leading up to the match. And they don't really do that anymore, except for like really for the main event. And that's also like kind of obnoxious as well. But to be fair, there really is no story for any of these matches. And that's how I think I want to get into Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. So let's talk about Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. Obviously, the finish aside, which I'm going to let you kind of like walk us through the match. I really want to just give my take on this and kind of just break down for the audience why I think that this was a colossal failure. So Cody Rhodes versus Gunther got 12 minutes, and it obviously saw Cody retain. Fine. Safe, fine, whatever, right? In the grand scheme of things, we talked about this before, and like we were kind of like, yeah, whatever. Cody's going to retain, great. I wanted Gunther to win, and I'm going to just start with that, right? I wanted Gunther to win. I thought it'd be fun. I thought, we could get a cool little interesting thing where it ends up being Gunther versus Brock for the title at SummerSlam, or we could just do something different, right, with Cody. And you had mentioned that you thought that maybe Sammy was going to get involved or something else was going to happen here. And nothing ended up happening. We had some kind of like schmaz finish, right, where Gunther's foot was under the rope, whatever, right? But you've got Cody Rhodes, who is, and I know I've gotten some heat from this in the comments, but I'm going to stick with it. You've got Cody Rhodes, who is arguably one of the best storytellers you have on the roster. If you let him, right? Against Gunther, who is arguably one of the best wrestlers on the planet. And you go ahead and fight me in the comments on that too if you want to, but like it's the truth, right? Cody Rhodes is an excellent storyteller. Gunther is one of the best wrestlers in the world. And you gave these guys 12 minutes. It was the second shortest match on the show. There was like next to no story going into this match whatsoever. Why Gunther is over here challenging Cody Rhodes, like just for a title shot, I guess. It's the same thing that we did with Kevin Owens. It was the same thing we did with Drew McIntyre. Cody basically got screwed, or Gunther basically gets screwed. He's going to go and complain about it. He's going to throw a tirade just like Drew did, just like Kevin Owens did. And it's just rinse and repeat until we get to a major feud with Cody where he actually has an opportunity to lose the title. And I should have picked this in the predictions because, like, I should have known that this is what was going to happen because I've been watching WWE for, 30 years on and off now. And like, this is just what they do. This is just what they do. Champions typically do not lose at B shows. They just don't. Major titles are not changed at B shows. We should have known this with Roman Reigns too, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So 12 minutes though, really? That's what you're going to give two of the best wrestlers, two of the biggest stars on your roster? Poor Gunther, man. Poor Gunther. Like this guy retired Styles and Cena and Bill Goldberg, and this is what we give him. Like the friggin' just go out there, Gunther, and do your thing. And there's nothing wrong with the match, like in its essence. It was a fine match, but 12 minutes, and this is what you wanted to showcase to the world on free TV. You should have given these guys 25 minutes. There should have been blood. This match should have been like off the chain. You want to showcase your product here, right? And this is what you do. Rhea and Jade got more time. And we'll get into Rhea and Jade in a minute too, and the colossal botch in that match. But please, go ahead. Be the
So
voice of reason.
the problem is that I know I picked Cody to win this, and I was talking to one of our commenters and subscribers during the match, during actually throughout the entire event, and he made a good point about WWE not being able to get out of their own way in regards to things they do. And it's like they really can. They had an opportunity here to, like you just said, showcase two of the best and on free TV. And instead, you just have them go out there and go through the motions because you don't give them enough time to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
This match was literally made up of Gunther dominating for almost the entire time, only for Cody to hit a single crossroads and win. That's my biggest complaint, is the ending to this match felt rushed. How do you have Gunther, I'm sorry, in the honor of how they pronounce it, Gunther, lose to a single crossroads? You know what I mean? You build him up as this monster, and he loses to one finisher? Like, it was a missed opportunity, and Honestly, I'm going to chalk it up to the fact that it was on the free TV. I don't think if this isn't on ESPN, I think you could have the blood. I think you could have this be way more of a brutal match like it should have been. But due to being on the free TV and the constraints of the time constraints, because think about that. You only have an hour on free TV. You're not going to want to have either of these matches end halfway through when that hour is up. So you have a set amount of time to get these matches in.
You had 29 minutes of wrestling on free TV.
That's my point, though, is you have a set amount of time to put this in. That's what they had to work with, and that's the problem. You only had so much time with the commercials, with all that, for these two matches to take place. And that's why you ended up with a 12-minute match. Like, don't do the free TV shit so you can have an actual. This match on a normal PLE would have been probably 40 minutes.
Rhea and Jade got 17 minutes.
That's
Rhea
my
and Jade
point.
got more time than this.
Yes, but you only had a certain amount of time to put both of those in. And for some reason, they chose to give it to Rhea and Jade. But on a regular event where it's not free TV, you have as much time as you want to play with, and you can tell an actual story in this match. And, I mean, I'm not going to bitch because I gained a point on T and caught up with you. So,
22, 22, 21.
Obviously I'm winning here, but I don't know. It just for me it all ties back to the fact that it was on ESPN.
I mean, I guess so. The bigger problem I have, I think, is that TKO doesn't give a shit about SmackDown at all. I don't think TKO watches SmackDown at all. I think all they care about is the Netflix money that is coming in for Monday Night Raw. And I think that's why we've really seen for a while now that Raw has been the superior show by a lot, and it's not close. And that's why Roman Reigns is on Monday Night Raw, right? And this does nothing for the belt, for Cody, for Gunther, or for SmackDown as a show. None of this is like, oh man, I can't wait to watch SmackDown and see what happens here because I've already seen it with Drew McIntyre. I've already seen it with Kevin Owens, and I'm going to see it again with Sami Zayn. Like, I just, because you were right. It is going to be, I mean, we didn't get there exactly the way you predicted, but we're going to get Sami versus Cody at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia because it's effing Riyadh season. But I mean, like, good Lord, like, could we just, could we fire the goddamn artificial intelligence that is writing these episodes of SmackDown? Because that's what happened. That's what's happening. And I think, because I think it was after this match that the King of the Ring tournaments brackets got announced. And were those put together by artificial intelligence too? Because you've got your women's world champion, Liv Morgan, in the damn Queen of the Ring tournament bracket. So I'm sorry, did before when you put that out, it was generated by an AI, and did the AI just be like, yep, here you go, here's brackets for King of the Ring, and your freaking women's world champion is in there. Who is what? Is she fighting so she doesn't have to have a match at SmackDown or SummerSlam? Good Lord.
I have points that I want to make about this, but let's actually sort of discuss those after we get through the PLE because I have some points I want to make about the brackets themselves.
Okay.
Because I'm sure you can bring them up in the background for us when while we're talking. So let's talk about those at the end here.
Oh God.
But you make a really good point. Ever since Raw went to Netflix, that was the downfall of SmackDown. And that was when it started to trend noticeably bad. And I mean, yeah, you had Cody go over there, win the title and everything, but I feel like TKO isn't investing the time nor the money in the B show. And if you're going to be acting like this show is supposed to be just as important, you need to be investing just as much time and money into that show. Get Skynet. Get a better AI.
I don't know. So then we had Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill, and despite the colossal botch in this match, and Kairi Sane wants to leave WWE. The Motor City Machine Guns want to leave WWE, but for some reason, you kept BFAB and Michin on the roster when they had one job in this match, and that was to make sure they were there, to make sure that they could lift Jade's leg up and put it onto the rope. That's your one job. And you screwed that up. Like, royally screwed that up. To the
That was
point where
on
the
BFAB.
referee literally had to stop counting, look up, and then they did it. It was like, holy cow, completely taking you out of the moment. So these are the two matches that you give away for free on free TV. These two matches with a colossal botch and your world champion getting 12 minutes against the best wrestler in the world. That's what you decide to give on free TV. Good job, WWE. The match itself was fine, but I'll let you talk about the match.
So the botch wasn't on Michin. I personally don't have a problem with Michin, but I 100% agree with you as far as BFAB goes. And so here's a question. Is the botch on BFAB, or was Jade not quite in the right position? I couldn't quite tell.
You'll never know. You'll never know.
But it also didn't help that cameraman was at the worst possible angle for that to happen. You know what I mean? If that's a different camera angle, it doesn't look anywhere near as bad as it did. But because that cameraman was standing right over Botch Fab's shoulder, it looked horrendous. The match itself, it pains me to say this, but I think this was Jade's best match. I think it was better than their WrestleMania match, and I was honestly surprised by the actual match itself.
I think the selling in this match by Jade was okay. Jade just seems to strike me as one of these people when because she's got it in her. You can see that sometimes she has it in her, and she just strikes me as one of these people. And maybe I'm completely wrong, but my opinion is she strikes me as one of these people who's just like, I'm gonna put in the work when I want to put in the work. I'm gonna sandbag for Rhea at WrestleMania like she did, right? I'm gonna just half-ass a lot of my feuds. I'm gonna cut the same promos. Every once in a while, it seems like she's got it, and then other times it's just I don't know, she's just lazy.
This match definitely felt more on the positive side for her than the negative. She really didn't botch anything, which is unusual to have her not have a single botch. Mm-hmm. And then Rhea looked like Rhea. She looked good. And obviously we had Charlotte interfere, and I'm hoping at this point that means we're moving away from Jade in the title picture, and we're gonna get Charlotte versus Jade, so that way it's at least away from things.
Well, that's going to be part of the Queen of the Ring thing, and I'm gonna get into that because we're gonna do a little bit of fantasy booking at the end of this on the Queen of the Ring tournament, because I see exactly how this Queen of the Ring thing is going to go, and I'll break that all down for you guys in a little bit. So
other than knowing that Liv Morgan is in it, I don't know what the brackets look like. So this is going to be
Charlotte
fun
and Jade are facing each other in the first round
as part of one of these stupid setup
matches
that we were talking about.
Yeah, it's part of a fatal 4-way.
Okay.
So yeah,
that seems dumb, but we'll talk about that. So yeah, I think that this was honestly one of the better matches overall as far as the wrestling goes on the card. I think that it obviously ended the correct way. I think all of us got this right, because it would have been incredibly stupid for WWE to be like, oh, well, we're just going to put the title back on Jade. So I think they made the right choice here, and for what we got on free TV, it was all right.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't even need this match at all though to happen again, but I get it. If you got to do the rematch, you got to do the rematch. But you're right, it was fine. Now, it's gonna pain me to say this, but Brock versus Oba was the match of the night. It was the best match on the show. And I am fine with the way they did this. I am 100% okay with the way they did this. So this match, even though we didn't want it, I I listened to a couple of podcasts this morning, and you know what? I think it's a good thing that Oba took a loss after listening to, because eventually you're going to write yourself into a corner, right? You're going to write yourself into who's going to be the one to beat Oba, right? Who's like who are we going to give that to? And like it's going to become more, and with this writing room that's already garbage, right? Like you're going to have a bigger problem here. And I think um I want to get into, what, actually, after this, before we talk about Becky and Sol and Roman and Jacob in the main event, I want to get into the King of the Ring thing here because I think this is going to tie into a bunch of stuff. But first, we'll finish talking about the match. Um, I think it's fine that Oba lost here, and I think he gets that out of the way, and it's fine. But I mean, you still made the dude look like $1 million. Match starts. Brock bull rushes him before the bell. He eats four F5s to start right off. Brock goes down for the pin. Oba kicks out at 2. They go back and forth a little bit. Eats another F5. Oba kicks out again. Oba, attempts to, Brock gets him into the arm bar and is basically trying to break his arm more or less, right? Oba literally lifts him up and slams him in with a spine buster, like absolutely unbelievable after eating all of those F5s. Then, they brawl outside the ring a little bit. Brock clears off the announce desk, tosses him through another F5 right through the announcer's table, goes back into the ring and is kind of like sitting in the corner. Oba stands up like, holy crap. Dude looks like $1 million doing that. Finally gets his way back into the ring, attempts to go for a fall from grace. Brock literally like leaps up over his head, gets him into a 7th F5 to bring the ruler down. I am 100% okay with the way they did this match. I thought it was excellent.
If you're going to book somebody to lose, but not lose any momentum and still look like a monster, this is how you do it. I don't think the Undertaker took what, 4 F5s? Roman took 5, maybe? Like the fact that it took 7 F5s, a Kimura lock being put through a table, and all of that for Oba to finally go down is, you're right. That it's how you keep somebody looking strong in a loss. And I 100% agree with what you were saying for that you heard on the podcasts. It's better to get Oba's first loss out of the way like this instead of being booked kind of into a, oh, there's nobody who's going to be able to beat him. What do we do now? You know what I mean? And I don't know. When he literally powered Brock up while he was still latched onto him with the Kimura lock was absolutely incredible. And I know T disagrees with us on this because in our group chat while we were talking during the match, he kind of felt like that Oba was being buried here. I completely got to disagree. I think that this is the perfect way to lead up to what is probably going to be a third match between these two, and have potentially a third match if they want to, and have Oba
Oh, there's
still.
gonna be so yeah. So there's gonna be a third match,
Yeah.
and I want to get into how that third match should happen. So the men's and the women's King of the Ring. Okay, the first round of the King of the Ring is Penta versus Obafemi versus Solo Sikoa versus Carmelo Hayes. Okay, Oba's winning that match. Oba's
Oba has to win.
100%. Unless WWE wants to have Solo Sikoa win because of what happened at the end of the Roman Reigns match, which I doubt. But which would be freaking stupid too, by the way. But Oba's going to win this match, right? I'm very, very confident Oba's going to win. As long as Penta doesn't take the pin here, I feel like poor Carmelo Hayes is probably going to take the pin here, and that's going to be like kind of awful, frankly. And I'll explain why Oba's going to win here in a second. But Opa's going to win that match, and I think it's going to be fine. And like I said, poor Carmelo Hayes is probably going to take the pin here, which sucks for Carmelo Hayes, but that's how you do it, right? The next match is Dominic Mysterio versus Braun Breaker versus Trick Williams versus Damian Priest. Okay? Braun Breaker's winning that match. And Damian Priest is probably going to be the one to take the pin there. Or because Dom will do something weaselly, and you're not pinning Trick Williams. He's too big of a star. So Braun Breaker gets the win there, right?
Might be Dom.
Either way, we both agree that Braun Breaker gets the win there, right?
Yeah.
And on the other side, you've got Seth Rollins versus Javon Evans versus Talatonga, whatever, and Ricky Saints, right? Seth Rollins is winning that one, obviously. Like 100% Seth Rollins is winning that one because who cares about the other three? I mean, Javon Evans a little bit, but nobody seems to care about Ricky Saints yet. And who cares about Talatonga? Like nobody, right? And then the last one is a little bit interesting. It's Jey Uso versus LA Knight versus Royce Keys versus Finn Balor. I could see LA Knight winning there. I could also see Finn Balor winning there. Jay's not going to win. Royce Keys certainly isn't going to win. So that gives you Oba Femi versus Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins versus either LA Knight or Finn Balor, who he has history with both, right? You get the rematch with Seth and LA Knight from when Seth faked his injury, or you just redo the match with Seth and Finn, which would burn the house down, right? Like, which one of those four guys, Jay, LA Knight, Royce Keys, or Finn Balor, makes the most sense to go up against Seth Rollins? And that's how you kind of have to look at that, I think. So I think probably LA Knight wins there. So on that side, Seth Rollins will beat LA Knight, go to the finals, right? And then on the other side, you've got Oba Femi versus Braun Breaker. Now, here's how this match is going to get booked. Paul Heyman is going to come out. He's going to have Brock Lesnar come out and cost Oba Femi that match against Braun Breaker. So the finals of Night of Champions is Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins, to which Seth Rollins will get his win. And Seth Rollins challenges Roman Reigns for the main event of night one of SummerSlam.
See, I like that. I think I mean, I think it's stupid that we have to get there through fatal four-way matches, but I think that that finals and that result is a perfect way of doing it. The only thing that maybe I could see being different is we see a returning Bronson Reed and you see the Vision go over, and maybe you get Braun versus Roman at SummerSlam.
I mean, maybe. I just, I don't know. I think Seth versus Roman is the bigger money match, but WWE doesn't love to do anything with young stars.
Yeah, but the
And
bigger thing
I
out
think
of it,
Seth needs to get his win over Braun too.
yeah,
Like, you're not going to have Braun beat him twice.
the bigger thing out of that though is then it gives you your career match for Lesnar versus Femi when you
My point
have
is because then Oba's getting cost by Brock, and then they do the final match, and because this will happen at Night of Champions, right? So then you have two options here. You then can do a really fun match at your Madison Square Garden, July 18th, Saturday night's main event. Main event of that PLE, or Saturday night's main event, because I remember what I said earlier in this episode. Your main event is a tag team match between Seth Rollins and Oba Femi versus Braun Breaker and Brock Lesnar.
I
Book
like that.
that. Book
Yeah,
that
yeah.
at MSG. What a huge match to do at MSG. Book it. Book it right now. That would be freaking awesome. And either team could win that, and it would be fun. Seth and Brock could call back on their history. You could do some fun stuff with Oba and Braun Breaker again. They could kind of get their rematch, in there. I think that's aces all the way around. So they have an opportunity to do something really fun with this Night of Champions thing. I hope that's the way it goes. If friggin' Solo Sikoa wins this goddamn tournament and he's the one challenging Roman at SummerSlam, we're retiring this channel because I just don't care anymore. I will stop watching. because I just don't get it. Because I could see them doing that. I could really see them doing that, and I think that that would be friggin' idiotic.
I 100% agree that it would be one of the stupidest things that they could do. But at this point, I don't know that I put anything past WWE. So we'll wait and see. And then on the women's side of the King of the Ring, what does that look like?
Okay, so let's book that one too. So the first one is Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss versus Chelsea Green. So Becky needs to win this one. Becky needs to be done with the Intercontinental Championship. She's held it, what, 3 times now? She's a multi-time Intercontinental Champion. She needs to be done with that belt. Like, completely done, out of that picture. You need other people in there. She's done enough to elevate that belt at that point. I don't think Liv takes the pin here. It'd be fun to see Alexa Bliss win. Chelsea's probably taking the pin here.
Yeah.
Although they like to pin Alexa Bliss a lot, but Chelsea is probably taking the pin here, and Becky Lynch needs to get the win here because Becky needs to go on to be back in the main title scene. As we've said for a while on this channel, Becky needs to be in the main title picture because we need challengers for this. We need like credible challengers for the women's main title, right? So Becky 100% needs to get the win here.
So from what I've heard, the reason why Liv is in this is because she's heard everybody running their mouths about how she hasn't been doing anything since she's won the title, and that she wants to show people that she's good enough to basically make it that nobody will be able to face her at SummerSlam because she's gonna win the whole thing. And basically, like when who was it who defended the title in or entered the was it Brock who entered the Royal Rumble as champion?
Uh,
Someone entered
yeah,
the
that's
Royal
when
Rumble
is
as
that when
champ.
Drew eliminated him? It sounds right.
Yeah, he entered as champ so that he could try to make it so that his exact reasoning was then I don't have to do anything at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that sounds right. But I don't think that Hunter actually like thinks that far ahead. But anyway, let's book the rest of this thing out because I think we could actually get to a pretty cool spot with this one too. So then you've got the next one, which is Sol Ruca versus Lyra Valkyria versus Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill.
I
Charlotte
think
wins.
Lyra.
Charlotte wins this one. Charlotte absolutely wins this one. Why? Because then your semifinals is Charlotte versus Becky. And we haven't done that in a while, and that's a big money match. That could be the main event of Raw or SmackDown. None of those other matches, none of those other four, you're not doing Sol versus Becky again in the semifinals. Not that quickly. Not again in 2 weeks. And Sol's the IC champion. She doesn't need this. Lyra's taking the pin here, unfortunately. And, you know, Jade and Charlotte can kind of do their thing. And I think Jade's going to make a play here towards the end of this in a little bit, and I will explain why in a moment. So Charlotte gets the win here. Lyra probably takes the pin. On the other side, you have Roxanne Perez versus Io Sky versus Julia versus Lash Legend. In this match, I think it's pretty obvious Io is getting the win here. I don't think any of the rest of them really matter. Roxanne, you could do Roxanne and make
Maybe
it
Roxanne,
but Julia's certainly not winning. Lash Legend is certainly not winning.
I
So,
could make a case for it being Roxanne, but it's most likely will be Io. But as a second choice, I would definitely pick Roxanne.
yep. And then on the bottom one, you've got Bayley versus Rodriguez versus JC Jane versus Kiana James. JC Jane's winning this one, obviously, and she's going to get the help from her Fatal Influence buddies. So then that takes you to JC Jane versus Io Sky. JC Jane wins that match, and she goes to the finals, as she should, because she's an up-and-coming star, and they're presenting her like $1 million. And her and Io could tear the house down and have a fantastic match. But I think the numbers game helps JC Jane win here. And I don't really think Io needs it right now. I think Io should actually be going after Becky or going after Sol for that IC title. So I put Io in kind of that sort of area right now. And then you do Becky versus Charlotte. Charlotte is the face. Becky is the heel. Charlotte gets the win over Becky. And then the finals is Charlotte Flair versus JC Jane. And that is where you have Jade Cargill cost Charlotte Flair the opportunity to get a main event for a title. Then you do at SummerSlam Charlotte versus Jade because you've been teasing that one for a while, and then you do JC Jane versus Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. And then you can go on and do whatever you want with Liv Morgan. You can tell other stories with Liv Morgan. You can have, Rock. You could do the Roxanne thing. You could have Stephanie Vaquera come back because she's imminently coming back. There's a variety of things you could do with Liv Morgan, but I think JC Jane needs to win the whole thing.
So you don't think there's a world where we get Io versus Rhea at SummerSlam where Rhea finally gets her win? Because
I
that's
don't think
also a
I don't think it
foreseeable
holds.
story.
I don't think it holds as much weight when Rhea's the champion.
What do you mean?
I don't think it holds as much weight when Rhea's the champion. I think Rhea getting her win as the champion doesn't hold as much weight as if Io were the champion.
Yeah, I guess
It's not as big of a crowning moment for her, I don't think. But I could be wrong. You could have Io versus Charlotte because Charlotte's coming out of the left side of the bracket, and I think I think JC Jane should come out of the right side of the bracket, in my opinion. But let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you kind of like or sort of agree with our fantasy booking? But yeah, I think that's kind of where it should go. So I don't know, but what do you feel?
I mean, I really like most of your booking there. I just think, like I said, I think there's a case that could be made for a couple other of the women, but I think you made the most logical path through it. That's the only problem I see is that Logic and WWE do not have any letters in common.
Uh,
So I just keep it simple, stupid is one of my favorite sayings, and it's something that WWE really should incorporate in their writers' room because they oftentimes book such convoluted stories that they end up painting themselves into a corner. And if they just did what you literally mapped out there,
for the
it's
men's one especially, right? Like for
yes,
the men's one especially, you've got an opportunity to make a couple of main events here coming up, and you've got an opportunity to have a couple of really fun matches and some interesting television for the next. I don't know, when is SummerSlam? 2 months from this coming weekend. So
beginning of August, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, hell, could be fun. So let's get back to Clash in Italy. We then had Becky Lynch versus Sol Ruka, and we had Sol become the new women's intercontinental champion. And I'll let you, because I've been doing a lot of talking, so I will let you break this one down.
So maybe now that Soul's Intercontinental Champion will actually get a full entrance from her instead of coming out halfway through a commercial break. Like that's something that I don't understand with WWE is like I get the commercials, but why are you having your stars come out halfway through? And I mean this was a great match. It was I don't know that it was necessary to have it a week after they just did it, but it ended the way it should have with making a new star. And I think Soul looked absolutely fantastic in this match. And anytime you need somebody reliable to help put someone over, that's Becky Lynch for you. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
she is fantastic in any role that you put her in. And I think that's part of why we need her back in the main event scene. I mean, she did try the same kind of BS as last week, where she tried to pull the ref in front of the Soul Snatcher, and the only problem I have is I don't know that Becky quite understands how to position herself for that move, because every time that Soul tries to hit it on her, Becky is like in the worst possible spot for it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that she was able to mostly hit it to pick up the win, but
Yeah.
yeah, this was fine. This was correctly booked. I don't think like I said at the offset of this, I don't need Becky Lynch as the IC champion anymore. I need Becky Lynch as the main champion on Monday nights.
Yep.
Which takes us to the main event, which saw tribal combat between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. And again, I say instead of keep it simple, stupid, Triple H's mantra is keep it safe, stupid, because that's exactly what we did here. We just don't change titles on B shows. We just don't do that. I don't know what the point of this was at all. I mean, you have actually, why don't you talk about what your one buddy had said when we ran into him at the gym about how you have Jacob acknowledging Roman and all that other stuff and helping Roman and stuff, because I kind of thought that that could be moderately interesting. But you and I were completely, and T was too, completely on the train that Jacob should have won here. And the match itself was fine. It was not that great. I kind of thought their first match was actually a little bit better. Um, this one really started off like really, really slow, like really, really slow. Typical Roman Reigns fashion with a lot of rest holds. And, we were definitely waiting for that table to break at the end. And I think I said it in the group chat where I was like, oh, once that table breaks, whoever goes through that table is losing the match. But it was fine.
Can I say for tribal combat, where the hell was the tribe?
Yeah. Where was the interference in this match?
Like the last time we got tribal combat, we saw like every Samoan in the woodwork coming out, and none. We had none. Like there was zero interference in this match. And if ever there was a match built for interference, this was it. And it just the problem I have with this match is I feel like this kills any momentum that Jacob had. I don't know if you think the same thing, but I feel like this was the perfect opportunity to put the belt on him, even if it was only for like 2 months. You have him take the belt off Roman, and then you have Roman come back after a month of his month off to chase Jacob because of all the chaos that he's causing. And I think that that's a new original storyline for Roman and his bloodline. But instead, it just feels like it. I believe you said it before that this is just going to be Bloodline 2.0.
I guess just my point is like, what do we do now? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do with Jacob now?
I mean, like my buddy said when we ran into him, I guess you could have like some whoever is Roman's next challenger come out and be like attacking him, and Jacob comes out, makes like he's gonna help attack Roman, and then takes out the person attacking Roman, and then just throws up the one with the Usos. But like,
And who's that going to be? Los Angeles Knight?
I don't know. I mean, no, it's whoever can't be Knight. Knight's a face.
Knight has made his disdain for Roman Reigns very clear, though.
Yeah, but I don't know that Knight would just attack him for no reason. You know what I mean?
No, Knight might just come out and Jacob might, stand next to him and then drop him.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it all really hinges on what kind of truth is behind Roman taking the next month off. You know what I mean? If Roman is actually taking the next month off, then I don't know what the hell they're going to do because you're then going to have no main title on Raw for a month for some reason. And then, which is like the Brock Lesnar years.
Yep.
But, or, but if Roman isn't taking the month off and we see what happens today in about an hour, um, maybe we get an idea on who he's going to face at Night of Champions. Like, I'm not, to be God's honest truth, I don't know who it'll be because a lot of the potential contenders are already taking part in the King of the Ring tournament. So I feel like anybody who's in the King of the Ring tournament doesn't make sense for them to be a contender for him right now. Right?
I guess so. I don't know.
Like you're already competing for a shot at facing him. Why should you lose your King of the Ring bracket
He's going
yet
to
get
be
a
on the
title
Night of
shot?
Champions thing, though, right? Like Roman will probably be on the Night of Champions PLE because it's in Saudi, unless you're going to do unless the main event is Cody and Sammy
I feel like Roman will still probably have a match there.
against who?
That's my point. I have no idea. Like I said, I think any possible contenders that are in the King of the Ring bracket make no sense. Excuse me. So you're left with a very short list of anybody who it could be, and I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, who's not on the King of the Ring brackets that it could be? Logan Paul's hurt.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Austin Theory.
No, you're not going to run back Brock again.
Yeah, Brock isn't going to show up for
Brock will show up during that semifinals match
yeah,
with
and that'll
Oakland.
be it for now.
That'll be in that probably won't be for like 2 or 3 weeks. Um, I honestly have no idea. I have no idea. Drew,
Maybe that's how you bring Drew back,
is
since he's apparently
he's on his way back, right?
yeah, apparently his filming for Highlander is done, so he is. They're saying his return was imminent. So maybe you do a one-off with him and Drew. But I feel like Drew is
You
better
did like
reserved for.
Drew and Jacob had their thing, right? And that would actually be a good way to get Jacob on the same page with them.
Yeah, you have.
No,
Yeah,
just a thought.
but can you feasibly only do a 1 month thing with Drew and Roman? Since there isn't anything in or since what do we get in July? Just a Saturday night's main event, right?
I mean, Drew would have to come back like today,
Yeah.
right? Like Drew would have to come back today.
Yeah. And I don't know that they're expecting him back that soon. I mean, you could do Joe Hendry that was taken out by Austin Theory. Um Randy I think is still out hurt. Yeah, I legitimately do not know. I think this King of the Ring thing has them kind of booked into a corner too.
Yeah. I can't come up with anybody, right? Like I can't come up with anybody to face Roman at I feel like you're just gonna do Sammy versus Cody. I think it actually might be better to not even have Roman on that PLE, truthfully.
Yeah, but with the Saudis being as demanding as they are, I'd be kind of surprised. And TKO wants to have their biggest and brightest stars there. Which, speaking of biggest and brightest stars, did you hear the rumors that apparently there is trouble in paradise between Roman and TKO?
No.
There's rumors that TKO wants to restructure Roman's contract because they think he's getting paid too much.
Yeah. Good luck
And
with
Roman
that.
is and Roman is basically told them that he refuses to even come to the table.
Good. I hope he leaves.
Could you imagine what that would do? You got TKO being that greedy to give Area Emanuel and all them bonuses by cutting the people who are actually making them the money. Yeah, I would love for Roman to be the one to stand up.
That would be friggin' hysterical to me if that happened. I hope it does. I hope it does. I hope Roman leaves. I think it would be friggin' hysterical. That could be the thing to get the fans to turn on WWE and to stop giving these people money. If Roman Reigns were to leave, boy oh boy.
These problems weren't, I hate to say this, but these problems weren't happening under Vince.
Nope.
Like,
There were other
it's,
problems happening under Vince, but not these.
yeah,
So,
they're, yeah, that
we'll talk about that though later when we get into the Raw review, which is actually coming to you guys in about an hour.
we can have a Vince special. But
Yeah.
no, TKO, it's, ever since TKO bought it, that's when all the problems started.
Well, so
But
that was Clash in Italy. Good times. That was a fun show, and I'm looking forward to. Gosh, I hope I'm really right on that King of the Ring thing. I really am. So, but what's your final review and rating for the show?
so I gotta give most likely a B plus, maybe an A minus, but I think I'm gonna be safe with it being a B plus. I don't think it quite made it all the way to the A's. It was like we said, it was a safe show. It was entertaining for the most part. I enjoyed a lot of it, even though I didn't agree with some of it. But I can be happy with a high B. I mean, that's what you get out of Riyadh season. So
So the booking of the first match and the last match was absolute trash. They think they did the best they possibly could with the Brock Lesnar Obafemi thing, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. And Rhea retaining is the right move. Soul winning is the right move. The King of the Ring thing has so much potential, but I'm going to be furious when it's Solo Sikoa who ends up winning the whole damn thing because of the way that they, had him staring at Jacob Fatu at the end of the match. So I don't know. But with that, my final rating for the show is a Noche de los Grandes out of 5, which, by the way,
we need to talk about.
go and watch that match. We'll talk about that when we do our Raw review later. But that is right now, that's probably the best match I've seen in the last 2 years.
Incredible.
Absolutely spectacular. Master Gable, all the applause to you, sir. I mean,
I never saw it coming.
well. That
I
was
had
spectacular. Spectacular.
I had no idea he was El Grande. Like, spoiler alert, I never saw that coming. And did you hear in even bigger news? The Viking War Experience are now your AAA Tag Team
There you
Champions.
go. The Viking War Raiders experience. The War Raiders machine. God.
Experience the Viking Raiders of War.
Jeez. So this is our show, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for all of the support. And please smash that like and subscribe button as we make our way to 2K. And we're almost there. And guys, this has been a really wild journey. So we really do appreciate all of the support. I can't say it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thanks,
with that,
guys.
I've been Mike, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill. Have yourselves a fantastic evening and take care.